Will there be a new Avatar: The Last Airbender series? Is there a Buc-ee's coming to Louisiana? And is Sierra Mist dead? Well, I talk about all that and more on this episode of the Toddcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toddcast. As always, I'm your host, Todd McManus. And of course, we have got big news today. Big news this past week, honestly, the past week or two. There has been some big news also in the entertainment area, but in our area here in North Louisiana, which is where I'm located, there is big news in the area, and we're just going to go ahead and dive into it because the big news is that finally, after many years of waiting and wondering, after a long time to see if this would actually happen, the state of Louisiana is finally getting a Buc-ee's here in our state, which is really big news because let me take y'all back a couple of years. Apparently, there were plans to build a Buc-ee's down in Baton Rouge, and that was in 2016, but it fell through, and they canceled the entire project in 2017, and nothing was ever said again. Nothing. It was, we're going to get a Buc-ee's, now we're not going to get a Buc-ee's, and that was it. We were left high and dry. There was rumors that apparently the reason Buc-ee's has never opened one of their locations here in the state of Louisiana is because of like our high tax rate that we have in Louisiana, which is understandable because Louisiana does have many problems in the state with a lot of underpaid people barely making ends meet unless you can try to work up to like a executive managerial position. You know, once you get up into a high position, you're able to make good enough money and live, you know, be able to pay bills and have extra money to be able to buy like decent stuff, you know. But for everybody, you know, the commoners who make, you know, $15 an hour or less, really, probably like most people's around like 10, 11, 12, you know, they can't really make good enough without having somebody else to be there with them. But I'm talking about like people living alone trying to make good enough money. And then the taxes that are heavily put on different businesses all over the state. It kind of makes sense that Buc-ee's wouldn't open one. But something has changed, and there has been a deal has been made with Buc-ee's now going to be opening a new location in the very own city of Ruston, Louisiana, the home of Louisiana Tech University. And Louisiana Tech is now going to have some competition with probably losing some, not all, but maybe even some of their like food service employees are definitely going to want to go work for Buc-ee's because Buc-ee's treats their employees amazingly. Because I'm going to look up the Buc-ee's pay rate for their jobs right now because it is kind of wild. And I want to read off what they pay their employees at this specific location. So, reading this off, so if you were to work for Buc-ee's, I'm going to list off the title of the job and how much they get paid per hour or until I get to the higher positions, which are paid salary. So, Buc-ee's employees are paid weekly. And the lowest they pay for their cashier, gift, maintenance, warehouse, and grocery stockers paid all $16 an hour. Food service and car wash workers are $19 an hour. A team lead is paid anywhere between $18 to $21 an hour. And a department manager is paid anywhere between $23 and $31 an hour. Now, if that don't make you want to work for Buc-ee's, I mean, come on, you know? Like, I make decent money at my job. You know, I'm able to be able to live, buy food, all that kind of stuff, you know. But that kind of money, I mean, a department manager, the least is $23 an hour. That's pretty good. If you're making over $20 an hour, you're living a decent life, at least. You know, you're not going to be poor unless you're buying or paying rent on a very high dollar apartment or something. But if you're able to live in like a low cost, like trailer home or trailer park or something like that, or still living at home with your parents, or if you're like with somebody, rooming with a brother, sister, cousin, a friend, or a significant other, then you're doing pretty well if at least one of you's making $20 or more. But $23 to $31 an hour. Can you imagine making $31 an hour? God, that's such good money. But they have full-time positions, which are 35 to 50 hours, no experience needed. And so now here is their salary positions. So we start out with the assistant general manager, which makes $100K plus a year. The car wash manager makes $125K a year, and K, of course, is 1,000 for all of you who don't know. Food service manager makes anywhere between $125K to $175K plus a year. And the general manager of the entire Buc-ee's store makes anywhere between $150K to $225K plus per year. Of course, they have 401K, 100% match up to 6%. 3 weeks paid time off. You can use it, cash it, or roll it over. You have your health care. They do have part-time available jobs. Plus, if you are an hourly employee, like let's say you work in the food service and car wash, or no, let's actually say you are a grocery stocker and you stock the groceries, you get paid $16 an hour. If you work overnight, they will add $2 an hour to your base pay. So if you get paid $16 an hour, you work overnights, you get paid $18 an hour. And man, like, that is great. I mean, you can just Google Buc-ee's pay rate and go to images, and that's what I'm looking at right now. And that is pretty wild. And they have this type of like picture of their pay in every Buc-ee's location, because like they know people are going to work there because they treat their employees with all these benefits and great pay. The lowest paid job at a Buc-ee's is $16 an hour. I mean, like, you're going to think that it's going to come to Ruston, and people are definitely going to quit their jobs and apply to Buc-ee's, because being that kind of much money, like, I mean, I have a degree in marketing, and I already have a job to where if I work good enough and get good experience to be able to even apply to like assistant general manager or anything like that. That alone, going with what I make now, going all the way up to being able to go to Buc-ee's and make at least $100,000 a year or more, that is wild. Like, just thinking, the thought process in my brain of being like, I could be able to make $100,000 a year. Well, that's before taxes and all that kind of stuff. And then I know they pay their hourly employees weekly, but do they pay their salary employees weekly? Like, if you're working a set amount of hours every day, how, like, it's confusing to me. Do they pay every single person who works at a location every week? Like, I understand you can pay your hourly employees every week, but are they paying salary every week? That means you're just making the same amount, like $1,000 or more, a little over $1,000 a week, Like, that's wild. That alone is pretty good and pretty wild in my opinion. But yeah, I would love to get paid that amount, especially the general manager. Can you imagine $225,000 a year before taxes? How much is that? Like, if you get paid every other week, which is the normal thing, you'd make like $5,000 on your paycheck every other week or more, That is mind-boggling. But, man, it even if I wasn't able to work there, like, I'm not saying I'm going to, because I very much enjoy the job I have now, and with what I do is great. I make good money, and I would like to stay with this job, and hopefully one day, I get promoted or pay raise or something, and I would very much like to stay with the company I'm with now because I enjoy it and great people and I love what I do. But just the idea of one day, if I didn't like what I do anymore, I would consider working at Buc-ee's. Like, I've considered it before, but, I got this job and I actually like it. A lot of people don't like what they do for a living, but I'm a lucky person to say that I actually do enjoy my job and I enjoy the people I work with. And not many people could say that. There are hard days and easy days. Well, there's not really easy days. There's hard days and there's less hard days. But I still like what I do and wake up every morning, and I might, be late sometimes, but I still enjoy what I do. There's not been a day yet where I wake up and be like, man, I got to go to work today. It's like I wake up every day and it's like, okay, what can I do differently today that's still going to be good, So, but Buc-ee's, even though, like, I talk about working there, I don't plan on working there, but as a fan and going to be a frequent shopper at Buc-ee's, I'm very excited because it's going to be one of the big ones, and they've said it's going to be one that has 120 gas pumps at this Ruston Buc-ee's. And I actually have interviewed the mayor of Ruston on a past episode. Y'all can go listen to that. He is Mayor Ronnie Walker. And the thought that Buc-ee's is coming to Ruston, man, I should have talked to him about that. I don't think I did. Because if y'all don't know, many years ago, Logan Paul made a YouTube video in Ruston where he was the mayor for a day. And now Buc-ee's is coming to Ruston. So Ruston's got a lot of stuff going on. I feel bad for the businesses there that may not pay their employees that much, because there are definitely going to be some businesses losing employees because they're going to want to go to Buc-ee's. And Buc-ee's has a lot of employees because Buc-ee's is a big machine that needs to be well oiled by many people. And you need a lot of people to run the machine that is Buc-ee's. So I'm excited to see it because I'm excited to go. The thought that the closest Buc-ee's from me right now is around 5 hours or more, but now having a Buc-ee's literally be less than an hour away. Being able to travel to Buc-ee's and then come back home and it still be the same day and still be daylight without it going dark is wild to me. It's like 50 minutes away from my house. So I'm excited to go to Buc-ee's. I'm excited for it to open. As of right now, it says that construction will not be done and they won't be open until around spring or summer 2025, which is, 2 years away. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and hopefully they actually follow through with this. So I'm excited for Buc-ee's to come to Louisiana and much less be near home. So that's kind of cool and wild to think about. So to get into some entertainment news here real quick, there is a show that I watched as a kid that I loved as a kid. And I've actually I haven't rewatched all of it, but I have watched some of it recently. And the show I'm talking about, as people around my age will probably remember, that is, of course, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And this show was great. As a kid, I loved this show. This show came on from 2005 to 2008. It was only 3 seasons, but it left like an imprint on me. That this show was just so good. I don't know, like, I will have to rewatch all of it because it was so good. And then they came out with the Legend of Korra show. And that was in like 2012, 2013 when that started. I liked it, but I did not like it as much as the original Avatar show. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because apparently they're going to try to start making more like animated movies. There's a live action Avatar series. It's basically just the first Avatar series with Aang and all them. They're remaking it as a live action real people show on Netflix. And I'm interested to see how that turns out because the movie from years ago sucked. It was god-awful. One of the worst movies ever made. And they're trying to make more and not be bad as that was. So they're trying to make a live-action Avatar series that'll be on Netflix in, maybe a year or less. They're making a animated movie about Zuko for some reason. I don't know what that's going to be about. But they're going to make a new Avatar series that's animated that will probably be on Paramount Plus, because that's where the Nickelodeon stuff is at. And it is going to be the sequel series. So they had the Avatar Last Airbender series. Then they had the Legend of Korra, which took place after Avatar Aang series. Now is the next one, because the Avatar in the first series, which was Aang, he was an airbender. And then once he was done and dead, then Korra happened. She started as a waterbender. And now this next one's going to take place after her, and it's going to be, I think, another guy, I guess. I guess they swap between guy, girl. I don't know what they really do. It could be a guy, it could be a girl, but from the picture it said it was going to be a man in the next Avatar series. And he will be an earthbender, is what he will start out as. And he will have to learn all the other elements and then become the Avatar. So, and save us from whoever, you know. And that's the order that they go in. They go air, water, earth, and fire. So we might get a fourth one many years down the road that'll be about another firebender. So, like the one before Aang, which was Roku. So, I'm excited to see this series. Apparently, it's rumored that it's just going to be only on Paramount Plus. And apparently, it's just going to come out in 2025. So, they're opening the Buc-ee's in Ruston. And also, the new Avatar series will be premiering in 2025 following an earthbender. So I'm interested to see. I've been wanting them to do kind of something like this for a while. I mean, it's been like 10 years since The Legend of Korra has happened, and I know for a fact we're overdue for something Avatar, something new, something fresh, something good as well that'll finally come out. But I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I thought the Legend of Korra series was a little weird. It was like more steampunk stuff. The last episode, I'm pretty sure, had like a robot or something, you know. But I don't know. I love the Avatar The Last Airbender series. It's one of my favorite series of all time. There's only 3 seasons. I definitely think, like, if it was made nowadays, there would be like 5 or 6 probably. But I did look up and see that Dave Filoni was the director of that series. And if you don't know, Dave Filoni directed Star Wars The Clone Wars. I don't know how he is this good. He is just like God tier director of animated shows and of anything, really, because he did Avatar and he's done different Star Wars stuff like The Clone Wars. I don't know if he actually did Rebels or not. And then he worked on The Mandalorian, which season 3 of The Mandalorian is coming out in February. The first official trailer came out this past week, but I haven't had time to watch it yet. But I'm very excited for it as well. So, getting into some other news here as well. This is just random news, kind of. So, Pepsi, we all know Pepsi Company, the rival of the Coca-Cola Company. Pepsi, of course, owns Sierra Mist, because we know Coke owns Sprite. They make Sprite, the lemon lime soda, while Pepsi has their alternative, which is Sierra Mist. So apparently, Pepsi has decided that it wants to kill Sierra Mist, that Sierra Mist is now dead, and they are creating their new drink to take the place of Sierra Mist, which is called Starry. It's Starry, Starry. And Starry is the new Sierra Mist that is still going to be caffeinated or carbonated, no caffeine, and it is going to taste more like lemon lime soda. They said it's more fruity and more aromatic. And I haven't had it. I haven't seen it yet, but when I do, I've definitely got to try it. They're making a regular version and a zero sugar version of Starry, and that will come in bottles and cans. And so once I see it in a store or a gas station, I will buy it and I will review it on a future episode just to see if it's worth it and see if it's better than Sierra Mist. But until then, I will have to just keep searching for it and make a journey out of it to find what I will be able to find or where it'll be able. I'm guessing if they just swap Sierra Mist out and put Starry in, then you'll be able to find it anywhere, and then every restaurant will have it, because they said that Sierra Mist is being discontinued. Like, And I thought Sierra Mist was doing great because if a place didn't have Coke products, Sierra Mist was my go-to if they had Pepsi products, because I don't like Pepsi or Diet Pepsi. I don't really care for Dr. Pepper. I know they have Mug root beer, which is okay, but it has no caffeine. So I would go with Sierra Mist because it was good and it tasted just pretty much like a different kind of Sprite. So, but yeah, now they have Starry, which is more fruity and aromatic with no caffeine. So I'm excited to see if it's going to be good, and I'm interested in trying this new Starry drink. So, with all that being said, I think it is now time for some questions. And this actually went on theme with a different subject I have already talked about this episode. I have one question here, and if you ever want to ask me a question, go down to the link into the description of this podcast episode, tap or click on it, it'll take you to my YouTube channel, and on one of the videos, go down to the comments section and comment your question you would like to be answered on a future episode, as well as a drink, candy, or food you would want me to review on a future episode as well. And I have one question here, like I said, that was on the same track as one of the subjects, because this question is about, of course, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, well, I did want to mention some things about it. So thank you for this question, and you were kind of the reason why I talked about the subject of Avatar this episode. And this question is, like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, what element would you want to bend? So if I was a bender, I guess we're gonna just keep it to the four basic elements of air, water, earth, and fire. Interesting. So, I mean, what would be the most useful? Because I don't want to consider any of the extra, because you know, if you're earthbender, you kind of can bend metal too. And like with fire, you can bend lightning, and with water, they had blood bending. And then air is air. I mean, with air bending, he was able to fly because he had the glider thing. Water would be pretty cool. Earthbend, I mean, they're all cool just to think about it. Whenever I was a kid, and I was watching the Avatar: The Last Airbender series for the first time, I always thought the coolest was firebending. I don't know why, and I do remember, like, Azula, Zuko's sister, the princess, of the Fire Nation. She bended blue fire, and she was the only one to bend blue fire. And I still don't know why. I mean, they probably say in the show, but I still don't know why she was able to just bend blue and everybody else was just regular red fire. I always thought fire was the coolest, as well as, lightning bending, because if you were able to do the lightning, was very cool. Whenever they did the lightning and they were like, moving around, and they got the two fingers, and then and they would do the lightning, That was the coolest thing to me, was that. But I mean, if you could earthbend, that'd be cool. But you have to be on the ground to do it, or at least see or touch the ground, But then I would, really mess up the yard if I earthbended. Waterbending would be cool, but I had to be by water. But I could live on the beach then and be able to waterbend. Fire, I can just bring fire out of nowhere. You just need oxygen for fire. So, as long as I'm on Earth, I could, above water, as long as I'm just on land anywhere, I can, snap my fingers and start a lighter, or whatever, or blow fire, I could be able to go to really cold places and I would keep myself warm. We wouldn't need a fire starter, I'd be great to take on camping trips. I'd be able to just fire bend at the campfire and then boom, there's fire, and I could keep people warm and start a torch if you want to go into a cave or whatever, So, in my opinion, I would really like to be a firebender. I think fire And if I could learn how to do the lightning, God, that'd be so cool. God, that was so cool to me. I don't know why, but God, every time they would do that and then they'd start moving around, and the lightning bolts would come off of them and all that, and then they would shoot the lightning. Man, that was the coolest thing ever when they were able to lightning bend. But yeah, I think firebending would have to be my choice. It's they all have their perks, but in my opinion, my opinion is that firebending is the best. That firebending is the best bending. Okay, I'm just gonna go out and say it. I mean, nobody wants to airbend. I could, boom, I just airbended because I blew air. I'm airbending right now. We're all airbenders already. But, water and earth bending, I'm just going to mess up everybody's yard. Firebending's where it's at. God, and like the Fire Nation, I know they were the bad guys in the first show in Avatar: The Last Airbender, but God, firebending was so cool to me, and it still is. So, firebending is the best bending. That's not a hot take. It's not a hot take if it's true. So, there you go. I'm going to be a firebender, and y'all can all go play with water and your little rocks. But I am going to be the guy who's playing with fire and shooting lightning. So, thank you very much. I'm going to be a firebender. So, with that being said, it is now time to get into a taste test review. I can grab it here. We have got something special today. It's only one item, but I wanted to actually look and see because of what I'm about to tell you about what it is. So, the reason it's only one item is because recently, before this episode started actually, I tried the real thing because this is not really a knockoff, but it has the same flavors, I should say. So what this is Stay Stuffed Puffs Big Bites. Now what these are giant marshmallows that are apparently filled with cinnamon flavored cream and crumbles, and the outside of these marshmallows are covered in cinnamon toast crunch dust. Now, I have got to crack open into this. Alright, rip that off. It's one of those resealable bags, so it has got to be very loud every time I touch it. If I can open the thing. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Oh, smells like heaven. Like, everybody knows, like, everybody has their favorite smell in the world. And you're like, that's got to be, like, when I die, and if I go to heaven, that's got to be what heaven smells like. To me, heaven definitely smells like some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That is the best smelling stuff. Like, gasoline, I don't know why, but gasoline smells great. But I think it's just something weird in our brain. But everybody can agree that the smell of Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the best smell that you could possibly smell. So, but these are just giant, God, these are huge, giant marshmallows that are covered in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch dust and filled with Cinnamon Toast Crunch crumbles and cream. I don't know what kind of cream, like an Oreo cream or something, I don't know. But the reason it's only this one item this week is because before this episode started, I actually did try regular Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. And I wanted to not only give this the score of 0 to 100 with no decimals on how I would rate it, but I actually wanted to see how close is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch on the outside of this marshmallow. How close does it resemble and taste to the real deal Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal? So, I'm not going to be trying any of the cereal in this episode. Very crunchy, but I've already actually had some today. But I wanted to compare it to these marshmallows. They smell good. Got a good cinnamon smell. So, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Stuffed Puffs Big Bites Filled Marshmallows. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Okay. All right. Okay. Very thick. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's pretty good. I gotta give it to you. Let me close those up for later. Those are pretty good. I mean, they're very huge. Like, there's literally only 10 or less in this bag. I need some water after that, after all that cinnamon toast. Okay. They're good. I will give them that. But when tasting them, I think I'm too busy correlating the cinnamon flavor with the actual crunch of the cereal, and it's making me miss the crunch. Like, I was waiting for the crunch, but the entire time I was too busy chewing on a big hunk of marshmallow, which once marshmallows get too big, and if they're not tender enough, or fresh, they get kind of chewy, like I'm just chewing on marshmallow gum at this point. But good. I didn't know there was a filling when I was biting into it. I couldn't really taste any kind of filling. It just tasted like a big marshmallow. They're okay, but the outside is what makes it good. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch outside coating is what makes the actual marshmallow good. And for that, on the official score of 0 to 100 with no decimals, I'll give it a 72. Because that's a little low, I think, for what y'all might be thinking. But I personally think that these are okay. They're not the best, in my opinion, but they're not bad. I will probably try these again right after this episode, but I probably wouldn't go out and buy these for myself. I might buy them for somebody else as a gift, but as of right now, I do not plan on buying them again. So, but they're okay. The Cinnamon Toast is it's very close to the cereal, but I think it's the crunch. The crunch is what missing, and the crunch is what's satisfying, and that's what makes the Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, is that great smell, great flavor, and the awesome crunch that it always has. So, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Big Bites, I'm giving y'all a solid 72. And with all that, I think that is going to be the end of this episode. If you ever want to recommend a food item, or if you have a question for me to answer on a future episode, please go to that in the description of this podcast episode. Click or tap on the link. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, and on one of the videos, comment your question and also your candy, food item, or drink you want me to review on a future episode. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. As always, please rate and subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded. And follow the Toddcast on Instagram for all your updates and Toddcast needs at _Toddcast_, only on Instagram, of course. And tell your friends and your family to give a listen. And thank all of you for listening to this episode. And if you want to know what's going to happen next week, well, you just got to tune in to find out. Only on the Toddcast.